Awesome. Okay, cool. So I will let you start.
Awesome. So, welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Monday morning. This is going to be our first episode of our elementary live learning at home summer 2021 sessions on the topic of engineering and entertainment. So, engineering meets Hollywood. In this episode, we will talk about vision and animation and what roles engineers play in cinematography, from animatronics to prop production and directors and engineers involved, to basically like anything that has to do with engineering in Hollywood. We are now live on both Zoom and our Engineering Outreach YouTube channel.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Alyssa. I'm an engineering outreach program instructor, and I'm also a mechanical engineering student from Ontario Tech, which is the school that provides these awesome programs.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maham. I'm an engineering outreach program instructor as well, and I'm actually going into grade 12. So I'm not done yet, but I'm really excited. Alrighty, so let's just go over our code of conduct quickly. What we ask that you guys please have your first and last name up on our Zoom, just so we can address you guys properly. Microphones and cameras must remain on mute and off for your safety because we are live on YouTube. For your privacy, we ask that you keep your cameras and microphones muted and just use the chat function to really communicate with us. Talk about the activity and ask us questions or answer our questions. And finally, most importantly, please respect everyone in our virtual classroom. Everyone learns at different paces. We want to make sure we bring everyone along with us in this journey. Just a quick note on the functions here, but I guess you guys probably already know. We have your mic and camera in the bottom left corner. You can use the chat feature, and then there's the end call button at the end. And for those of you that would like to register on our programs, we still have a couple more. So if you want to take a screenshot of the slide and join us with the link at the bottom, you are free to do so. A quick disclaimer, everybody, we are, you're called to when you're live at home. So all of our live at home learning sessions are being recorded and live streamed in our Engineering Outreach YouTube channel. So the focus will be on the facilitator and the presentation. So you're not required to turn your camera and or audio off. But just so you know, you guys did fill this consent out in the registration process. Your parents, no, we're all good. Alrighty, so we have, as per usual, our STEM, which means science, technology, engineering, and math. Science meaning understanding the world around us through experimentation. So a lot of times, I like to think of science as not magic, but it's like trying to figure out the invisible things and all the things that you can't see. So for example, everybody can see that items fall to the ground, but we can't see gravity. But we experiment to see how it works. Microscopic things, exactly, Nathan and Jason. Thank you so much for that. We can't really see atoms, we can't really see the cells with our naked eye, but when we experiment, we can tell, like, yes, diseases can be contagious, or cells can die off. And by basically using technology like microscopes, we can figure those things out. So technology is any tool or machine that helps us solve problems, that makes our lives easier. It doesn't have to be electrical, but it just has to be useful. Next, we have engineering, which is solving real-world issues by designing and building models. And finally, we have math. Math is using numbers, shapes, patterns to understand our very complicated world. Alright, so today I want to ask you guys, what do you think entertainment engineering is? You guys heard of entertainment engineering before? So I see, yeah, first thing that comes to mind, movie production. Propty says, I've heard of it. Josh is like, the Hulk is awesome. I agree. Nathan and Jason, you guys have heard of entertainment engineering. Interesting. Okay, cool. So entertainment engineering is basically revolved around inventing, designing, and building, and testing and analyzing machines, systems, and structures for theoretical purposes, theatrical purposes, not theoretical, theatrical purposes, entertainment purposes, theme parks and performances. Yeah, basically they do all the work that make the fictional things look really real. They will consider cost, safety, visual effect. So a lot of times you might think that entertainment is for actors and singers and makeup artists and visionaries. It's a creative industry, so do engineers really belong there? Yes, they do. Lots of engineers will be happy to know that the movie making industry can actually has a lot of jobs for engineers as well. So working with special effects and lighting to creating virtual worlds, engineers create settings and scenarios to help moviegoers engage with the story. So there are many ways engineers contribute to the filmmaking industry, like what we are going to see today. But other than entertainment engineering in specific, what are some other types of engineering that you guys know of or that would be helpful in this industry? I see in the chat we have Power Rangers are an example. Yeah, that's some computer software involved. I see Josh has their hand up. Go for it.
Animation.
Josh, your volume is a low, but are you able to type it? Or can you just repeat what you were saying?
Okay, I turned up the volume. Can you hear me better?
Yep, I can hear you a little bit better.
Animation.
Yeah, animation is a good example. I like that one. We are going to go into that today. I see Prapti's hand up. Prapti, can you give me an answer?
Aerospace.
That's also a good one. Let's check them out on the next slide here. We have software and civil mentioned. Yes, you guys basically got the main ones. There's also mechanical engineering involved. We could just play them all together. Yeah, mechanical engineering, which has to do with creating props and various special effects, and they make sure that the design and the range of mechanical devices fulfill a specific purpose. So for example, mechanical engineering is a lot about like creating special effects in movies. So they might conduct research and use computer-aided design for the prototypes, which they then test and redesign as needed. Somebody mentioned computer software. That is very important because those developers are using the film industry to create programs and special effects for primarily animated movies, such as what Josh mentioned. But they also work with other productions as well. So they have to understand the needs of the film and the design software and expand the current program to meet those needs. They test these programs to ensure that they function properly and keep detailed records of a system in order to provide proper maintenance. Prapti mentioned aerospace engineers. So because obviously outer space movies are so hyped these days, and some films actually will consult aerospace engineers when they're designing the spaceship, rocket, anything that goes into space, any sort of space technology that they want to make realistic, they're going to ask an aerospace engineer. Traditionally, aerospace engineers design and test a variety of space projects, such as satellites, missiles, and spacecrafts. We also have electrical engineer. So electrical engineers might be involved a lot in the sound and audio section. So sound engineers are needed to develop all the different audio incorporated throughout a film. They build special sound equipment and computers to record sounds used in the movie, as well as mix audio and synchronize audio with each scene. So they are very responsible in the sound side, but they might also be responsible for the lighting. And we did mention computer and mechanical and chemical were the one I was going to, chemical is the one I was going to talk about now. So have you guys ever seen a movie where there's like a gas chamber or something, or all of a sudden there's gas coming out in the room? Chemical engineers will be involved in making sure that the chemicals used to create that gas effect is not harmful to any of the actors or people on the set. I have some comments here in the chat. Yeah, sometimes people like to make movies just for the fun by themselves. And someone mentioned a really good one. Materials engineers will work on creating suits and clothes or sports. That's a good one. And Josh, I see your hand up. Oh no, was I just forgot to put it back down? No problem. All right, so let's check out.
Yeah, I forgot to put that.
Awesome, no problem. Let's check out what we have in our next slide about some engineers in Hollywood. Alrighty, so we have Hedy Lamarr, who was an actress, and she was an electrical engineer. Has anyone ever heard of this actress before? No? That's cool. Has anyone ever heard of Alfred Hitchcock? He's a film director, also a mechanical engineer. It's really interesting how you can, study one thing, be another thing, or have two careers at the same time. Yep, Meki and Malia have. Awesome. Let's take a look at who else we have in engineering in Hollywood on our next slide. Do these faces look familiar, people? We have our very infamous Mr. Bean, who is Rowan Atkinson in real life. He's an actor, also electrical engineer. And Bill Nye, the science guy, aka a mechanical engineer, also actor. So it's really interesting how, directors are also engineers, actors are also engineers. It's really cool.
One of them was actually in the original The Lion King. The first one, he played Zazu.
Oh, I didn't know that. It's a fun fact. Thank you for sharing. That's really cool. Nathan Jason saying, yeah, these two, we know them. Rowan is Mr. Bean. Bill Nye is obviously Bill Nye, the science guy. And there's a couple more people we want to show you guys in our next slide. Oh, wait, did we already? Never mind. So now let's take a look at, these engineers / Hollywood entertainment actor people use at the same time, which is called the engineering design process. But I feel like you guys might know what it is. So step one is, any guesses, people? It's identifying the problem. That's cool. We can just play it. Yeah, identifying the problem. So we have to figure out what exactly our problem is. So for Bill Nye, even though he was an engineer and he's an actor, he might be thinking, the problem is we need to bring science into the classroom. So let's create a film, a movie, or a season, or a show that really showcases science in action. So he identifies a problem. All engineers identify a problem. They then move on to brainstorming all their ideas. They don't just pick the first one that comes to mind, because that could be not giving the opportunity to be an idea that works. After brainstorming ideas, what do we have? Someone says test and evaluate. We have design a solution. Very important. So if you're a software engineer, that might be source code. If you are someone on the computer a lot as an engineer, that might be creating a 3D model online. But designing a solution is a very important step, and it can save a lot of money, time, effort, energy along the way. Next up, we have, I see a lot of people have mentioned it, make the model. Awesome. And once we build a model, we build the real thing, we are going to make sure that I feel like only one person typed it, test and evaluate it. So we want to make sure that what we've created actually works before we put it into the real world. And after that, we're going to make sure that we double check, go back to our steps to improve wherever we think is needed. Awesome. So now let's take a look at animations all around us. So I feel like this is a really easy question, but where have you guys seen animations before being used? Practically everywhere. In HTML, yeah. But what about just like regular on your phone, movies? It's pretty much everywhere on our phones and computers, devices. Yep, Propty mentions movies, video games. What are some of your?
I think Marvel. Marvel's like my favorite one.
Marvel uses a lot of animation. That is true.
Yeah, well, for Hulk.
for Hulk. And
Because
basically all of them.
for a person like who plays Hulk, like he has to wear this kind of suit where like it has this all kind of like wires so it connects to some kind of like device, so then they could like he could choose the actions. It's not like they're animating a real thing. They're animating the person like what's with the green screen.
Very true. That is correcto. So you gave a really good, huge and really awesome example with Hulk in movies and how they have to wear a suit and there's green screens involved, and you know what they actually look like isn't coming up. Oh, mute it again. So in coding games and games and movies, Netflix, Marvel, Disney, Roblox, YouTube, yeah, lots of animations. We have video games, we have movies, and engineers. So in video games, like for example, Candy Crush or Legend of Zelda, Mario, Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, these are all great examples of games that use animations. What about movies? What movies have you guys seen with animations? So Frozen, WALL-E, Beauty and the Beast, like in the picture here, Marvel, like we mentioned before, those use animations, and engineers use animations. I know, right? You probably don't think of it at first, but yes, they do. And they use animations to simulate prototypes to create 3D designs. They do anything with simulations at all. So for example, if they're designing a rocket, they're going to test virtually, and they're going to test in their animation how aerodynamic it is. And our next slide, Melissa's going to take us further into animations.
Okay, awesome. So we learned how animation is used in engineering and how it's used in many different fields like video games and movies. One of these movies is very popular. Does anyone recognize? Yeah, Nathan and Jason, is The Incredibles. This is a very old movie that I grew up with when I was younger. I don't know if you guys have watched the first one. I know that the second one is very popular, but I'll show you a clip like this. Hopefully you can still see my screen. Let's see. Can everyone see my screen? Yes, okay, awesome. So if you don't hear the audio, that's okay. I just want to show you the visual of it. Okay, so sorry, I know there was no audio, but the audio part isn't as important as the visual part. So we're talking about animation, and I'm sure if you've watched this movie, you've recognized this scene before. Mr. Incredible's coming home, and he earlier he snuck out of the house to do some hero work, but the situation is essentially they're kind of retired superheroes, and he's doing hero work kind of behind the scenes, even though his wife Helen doesn't want him to. So he comes back home, and she catches him sneaking back into the house, and they're having a little argument. So long story short, we're looking at the visuals of animation, and this is really cool because in CGI, which you've probably heard before, this is like 3D animation, and people create the CGI with computers. It's very smooth, as you can tell, right? But if we look at the second image on the right of the screen, you can see that it is made of many different frames, and each of them is slightly different than the last. But when we combine them together and there's very smooth movement, you could tell that there's very smooth and very nice animation, and we're able to tell a story through that. So do you know which studio makes films like these? Yeah, like stop motion, exactly. Yeah, DreamWorks for sure. Pixar. Yeah, Pixar makes.
Disney.
Yes.
Disney.
Yes, of course, Disney. Yes, Disney, Marvel, Pixar, DreamWorks. Netflix, yes.
That's where this one is on. This is where this movie is on.
Yeah,
Netflix.
for sure. Awesome, great answers. So all of these companies do some awesome CGI animation. Obviously, it's better than this type of animation. This movie was created in around like the 2000s era. I believe like early 2000s. So I'm not sure if you guys were born before that, but this is a pretty old movie. Animation has gotten way better since then, and you could see it in a bunch of recent movies as well. Okay, awesome. So, like I said, when you take a sequence of still non-moving images and then they look slightly different from the last, you can play them in a fast motion and you can see that there's this illusion of smooth movement. So we can watch another one. I'll show you here. And this one also has no sound, so no worries about that. You can see how smooth the animation is.
That's what I did with animation I made.
Yeah, for sure. So, does anyone recognize which movie this is from? Yes, Inside Out. So this one is also a pretty recent movie. You could tell the animation is very different than The Incredibles that we just watched. And you can see that the animation is very smooth, even though they're moving very quickly and whatnot. Animation looks very, very nice. Okay. So we will move on to zootropes. So zootropes are a very, very early form of animation. Obviously, we use computers to animate movies like The Incredibles and Inside Out and any other animation movies that you've watched recently. But way back when we didn't have those, great type of technology and computers, we had zootropes. So zootropes are made up of a cylinder, and they have slits that are cut vertically in the sides. As you can see, there are little holes on the side. Inside, there are a row of images, and the images are sequential, meaning that as they come one after the other, they create a scene. So when a person looks through the zootrope, or when they look through those little slits in the cylinder, you spin it, and essentially it creates this very slow animation, as you can see on the screen here. And it's really cool because even though it's not on the screen, you can still create animation by hand. People can draw them, and you can create whatever you want. So the basic principles behind this design, we also use to create motion picture, as we were talking about the still images, and we put them together, and as they flow, they create animation. So one good example is GIFs or GIFs. Yeah, Nishi, it looks like a flipbook for sure. And we'll talk about flipbooks later. Has anyone heard of a GIF or a GIF before? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, cool. Awesome. So,
Zootropes.
yeah, for sure. I know GIFs and GIFs have been, very, very popular in the last couple of years. They use this type of technology. Also, if you've watched, if you streamed a video, again, if you've watched something on Netflix, that kind of stuff, it uses the same type of technology as the Zoetrope, but a lot more advanced. So as you can see, this is a pretty old device. This device was first invented in 1834. So way, way back before you or I were ever born. It was invented by a mathematician named William Horner. And I hope I pronounced this right. He named it the Daedalum. Daedalum? Either the Daedalum or the Daedalum. People all... Yes, Josh.
He drew the pictures very 1 inch, and then I guess he spinned it around so it looked like an animation.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like you know a lot about it. So Josh was saying that the pictures were drawn 1 inch away from each other, and as you spin it, it creates the animation. And that is exactly what it does. We're actually going to create one of these today, so you'll actually be able to draw your own images and create your own animation. Okay, so moving on from our daylum or our zootrope, there's this theory, or that there's this illusion called the persistence of vision. And this is essentially the illusion, as again, as we were explaining before, the persistence of vision works because the human eye and brain can only process 10 to 12 separate images per second. But as we put the images beside each other and we kind of play them in succession, they will create this image or this illusion of continuity. So normally when you look at an object visually, an image of that object is projected onto the back of your eye, which is called the retina. So if you know a lot about the way that your eye works, you'll recognize that word, the retina. So that will send the image to your brain, and then the brain will process and interpret that information, and then you will see the image as you look at it. So in this case, when we're looking at a zootrope, as you look at one of the slides, you'll see an image, and our brain will retain that image until the next image will appear. So as images keep on coming up, it'll look like it's one image. And then as we move to the next one, it'll look like it's actually moving. So that's pretty cool. And again, in every type of animation that exists, they use this persistence of vision to create that smooth motion. And there are a bunch of frame rates that we use to create very smooth motion or very choppy motion, very fast motion or very slow motion, depends on how you want to animate your animation. So I mentioned frame rates, and it seems like quite a few people know what frame rates are. So frame rates, or frames per second, FPS, is the rate at which consecutive images called frames appear on your display or on your TV or on the movie screen. We could also call it the frame frequency. And does anyone know what unit it's expressed in? So if you've heard of frames per second, frames? Not quite. You might think so, but there's a different unit. Starts with an H. Okay, so the unit is actually, so the question is, what is the unit that we express frames per second in? Yeah, oh, awesome. Awesome, Nathan and Jason, you know it. So hertz, exactly. Hertz is the unit that we express frame rates in. So if we look back at our example, like The Incredibles is displayed in 24 FPS, and this frame rate is closer to how we kind of visualize the world, and it actually creates a very cinematic look. If there's a video that's broadcasted live, or there's a lot of motion, so let's say you're watching the news, or you're watching like a sporting event or a video game recording, there's normally a higher frame rate so that the animation is more smooth. So if The Incredibles is like 24 frames per second, something like a video game recording will be around 30 frames per second to 60 frames per second. That's because there's a lot happening and we want to capture everything. So if the series of images gets to our eyes too slowly, then we won't be able to send it to our brain quick enough, and the images won't overlap. So we won't have that very smooth animation like we would with a higher frame rate. We would probably see some flickering that would disrupt smooth and moving animation, like I said. Exactly. So as Shoria said, 10 FPS is not that smooth. That's why we have higher frame rates, so that we can have a lot smoother quality and we can have better, crisper animation. Okay, so someone mentioned the Flipbook. And I don't know if you've made one before, but they're pretty cool as well. And they work very similarly to the Zoetrope as well as the praxinoscope. So these are other examples of animation devices. The praxinoscope was invented in France in 1877 by Charles Emile Reynaud. So very similar to the Zoetrope, as you can tell. It has that very quick spinning animation style, and they have the hand-drawn animation. And as you spin it, you can see that it looks like a moving image. The Flipbook is very similar, but the execution is a little different. So instead of spinning it, we flip the pages very quickly, and then you can see consecutive image coming up on the pages. I kind of like the Flipbook better because I think it's a lot easier to use, and it's a lot easier to draw on as well. Has anyone created a Flipbook too, or ever?
I did, but it hurts my fingers, so.
Nice. I think I created one when I was younger, but I wasn't a very good drawer back then, so I don't know how well it turned out. Awesome. What was your animation like? What did you draw?
Well, I drew myself.
You drew yourself?
In a story.
Oh, that's so cool.
But I was younger. I did actually make a good drawing of me, but I had to erase each time because I had to make sure that each inch would actually have an actual animation. Because I noticed how much inches, because you can't be at one place and then at another. It won't be like an animation there.
For sure, that's super cool. Yeah, so when you draw something like a Flipbook, or even when you draw like a Zoetrope or a praxinoscope, it's a little difficult when you're hand drawing, just because if you have to erase, then you might see traces of your eraser markings that you made. Not all of the pen or the pencil that you are trying to erase goes away, and you have to be very, very concise. So I'd say it's very, very difficult to create one of these animation devices, though when you do it, it looks super cool. So props to you if you've done it. Okay, so here's our activity. Like I said before, we are going to create a Zoetrope, and we're gonna create one for Walt Disney so that we can help them prepare the next Disney animation. Okay, so first things first, let us get our materials. I think there was an email sent with materials on there, so hopefully you have gathered all of them already. If not, I'll give you a few minutes. You will need a ruler, a pencil, a paper, some scissors, tape, glue, markers, black paper. I know it's white, but preferably black paper, or construction paper if you have, a paper plate or a pie tin. You don't need both, just one of them. So I have my black paper here. I have my paper plate. I have a pencil. I have scissors. I have some tape as well. So I'll give you a couple minutes to gather your materials, and then we will start. Yes, Walt Disney definitely has a multi-billion-dollar company. They've created a lot of amazing animations in the past many, many years. So I'm sure he can buy the Zoetrope, but if you can give him a good animation, he'll probably invest some money. He could buy the Zoetrope. Yeah, exactly. He wants, if we can create like really good animation, then we'll be pros. Okay. If you have gathered all of your materials, and again, I'll give you a lot more time to gather what you need, type done in chat. So again, the materials are on the screen. If you don't have them or you want like a substitute, let us know and we could probably figure something out. I also believe you should have gotten some templates that you got sent in your email. I have some templates too as well. So you could see that I have this template. I also have this one.
Wait, I'm just asking, like, if you do you have to be a good drawer to do this, or like? Cause like
yeah.
it does really matter, cause like you could like if you're making an animation, you have to like have like an animation drawing.
Not necessarily. You could draw stick figures if you are not that great at drawing.
True.
Yeah, for sure. You don't have to be a great drawer to make an animation. Anything that moves can be an animation. So if you don't think you're a great drawer, no worries. If you are a great drawer, do your best, and I want to see how they turn out. But anyone can make these. Again, I'm probably just going to draw stick figures. Yeah, if you don't have black paper, so I do have black paper. Mine looks like something like this. But if you don't have black paper or construction paper, try to find something that is close to black. Maybe if you have like a green or blue construction paper, nothing. The white won't work as well. If you have like white printer paper, it won't work as well. Maybe if you get like a cereal box and you cut that out, that could work as well. Or like really thin cardboard that you'll be able to mold and move around, because we'll be taping the ends together, kind of like a cylinder. So I have my example here. You can see that my construction paper, I have to tape in a cylinder like this. So if you can find something that is able to do that and is pretty dark, try that. Okay, how's everyone else doing? Did everyone get their materials, or do they need more time?
I've got mine.
Awesome, cool. Anyone else? Anyone else need more time, or we're good to move on?
I'm done.
You're done? Awesome. More time? Okay, no worries, Nathan and Jason. I'll give you a couple more minutes to gather your materials. Again, if you have the black paper, if you have any type of construction paper or cardboard, or like an old pizza box or an old cereal box, those probably should work. But it's really important that your paper is pretty dark, because the darker it is, the easier you will be able to see your animation. I will have to start in a couple minutes though, because there's quite a few cutting that you'll have to do.
Can I show you the dark that I have?
Yeah, sure. For sure. Yeah, that works. That is awesome. Yeah, so we actually did some prototyping before this, and Maham used pink paper instead of black. So if you don't have black, try to find something close enough to black, but if not, you can use pink, you can use green or blue. Probably yellow might not work. White, try to stay away from white. Again, the darker it is, the easier you will be able to see your animation. Okay, cool. I'm going to move on. So hopefully you guys are following, because again, it might take a while to cut. So first thing I want you to do is, with your black paper or whatever color of paper you have, I want you to cut strips of black paper up to 6 centimeters wide and 40 centimeters long. So you can see that my diagram here, it's going to be 6 centimeters high. So this will be 6 centimeters. And then across will be 40 centimeters. So let's do that first. So cut 6 for the width, and then 40 for the length. And don't worry about the slits yet. We will do that soon. So when you are done cutting, type cut in the chat. When you're done cutting that 6 centimeters and that 40 centimeters. Or, yeah, if you do have the template, you can use the template that we sent you. So I have my template here. And then I believe Maham's going to show you without the template. Oh, Maham, your camera is, I I think maybe if you take off the blurring, we'll be able to see.
Oh. Ding. My bad.
Apologies.
Okay. I'll look here. I'm just gonna be working my way through this, creating my own measurements. If you want to follow along, anybody not have a template, just do what I'm doing, do what the diagram shows, and also listen to what Alyssa's saying.
Awesome. So as I speak and I talk to you guys about or how to do the activity, Mahom will show you how to do it without the template. We'll wait for her, but I already have my template. So if you have your template already, great. Yes, we sent you the template, but if you don't have it, you could still use a ruler and mark it down and cut it out like that. So we'll wait a couple more seconds. Again, when you are done cutting your 6 centimeters and 40 centimeters, type cut in the chat when you're done. No worries. If you don't have the template, you can follow Mahom. She's doing it without the template. So once again, 6 centimeters for the width. I'll show you again. So, oops, 6 centimeters for the width and then 40 centimeters for the length. That's the first thing I want you to do. Don't worry about the slits yet. You'll do that next. Anyone finish their cutting? Let me know in the chat. Nice, awesome. Anyone else finish their cutting? I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page so we can move on. Yes, Nanthony.
No, we can't.
Sorry?
I can't. I'm not done.
You're not doing it? Okay, no worries.
No, I'm not done. I'm not done.
You're not done. Okay, no problem. I will give you a couple more seconds to finish measuring those and then cutting. Awesome. So here, I'll try to do it along with you guys. I'll show you with the template and without the template. Just so you guys aren't too confused. So I measured out my 6. I'm going to measure out my 40, 15, 30, 40 centimeters. Okay. My paper is not 40 centimeters long, so I'm going to have to adjust. I will do with what I have. So I'm going to cut this out.
How many strips are we supposed to make?
So the strips are going to be as many as you can make with the dimensions that we give you. With the template, so you can see with the template here, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There are 13 in mine. I believe mine's a little shorter as well. You can see with the template, it's a lot shorter than the piece that I cut out. But with this one, you should have a little bit more. I would say 16 or 17 instead of the 13 here. Okay, cool. So once you are done, I want you to cut the slits on the black paper or whatever color paper you have. So each slit should be 0.5 centimeters wide. So you can see in the orange here in the diagram, that's how wide they should be. 2.5 centimeters deep. So for these sections, they should be 2.5 centimeters. And then they should also be 2.5 centimeters tall. So, sorry, this is deep. Sorry. Okay, deep and then apart. So 2.5 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters, and then the little slit should be 0.5 centimeters. So start on that, do as many as you can. Again, I believe you should have about 15 to 16 to 17 for your 40 centimeter long strip. Yeah, I'll let you do that. And then let me know when you are done. And again, if you have the template already, that is great. You have 9 for a 28 centimeter piece of paper. Okay, that should be okay as well. Cool. So yeah, try to cut as many as you can with these dimensions. If you can't cut all 15 or 16, that is a-okay. But try your best to cut as many as you can. Then we will move on. So at the end, you should have something similar to this. So on your black or pink or blue or green piece of paper or your cereal box, you should have something like this. Awesome. So it looks like Mahom's cutting out those slits right now. She measured and now she's cutting them out. So when you guys have all cut out your slits, give me a done in the chat. Yeah, and they're super easy to pull out. Awesome, you're done. Cool. You could just pull out the slits when you cut them, or you can just cut them off, whatever you like to do.
Wait, don't need to, like, I could cut it off, like, leave like a little hole.
Sorry?
So I could like, hold on. I could do this.
So we're not going to bend. We're going to keep them straight like this. So don't bend them, because if you bend, they won't work the way that they're supposed to. Okay, awesome. Yeah, make sure not to bend them. You can see mine are a little bent by accident, but try not to bend them. You see mine are kind of not that straight. Awesome. How's everyone else doing? Is everyone else doing well? Are they done the cutting the slits? Or does anyone need more time?
I need more time.
Okay, sounds good. No problem. So we'll give you a couple more minutes. It is 9:50, so I hope we will be able to get through the whole thing. I'm not sure if we will. If we don't, again, I will show you my final product and show you what it should look like, and then you guys can continue at home after we're done the session. But no worries if you don't get it done. Take as much time as you need. And make sure the slits are cut evenly. Okay, cool. Yes, of course, I can hold mine up again. So mine here should look like this. So again, mine has 13 slits, but you should have, if your paper's longer, so you should have a bit more. Okay, cool. So once you have done that, wait on the inside, yes. So once you've done that, we are going to create our animation. So I have an example of an animation here. So you can see that mine starts off with, there's a person that's, oops, I'm on the side. There's a person that's not smiling, and then gets a big smile, and then turns to not smiling again. So you could have something very simple like this, or you can draw something different. You can draw stick figures. You can draw whatever you like, as long as they're moving. So typically, let's say I'm drawing someone who's kicking a soccer ball. You want to make sure that the next stick figure is moving just a little bit more, because if you have them looking the exact same, then there's going to be no animation. So again, I'll show you mine again. I didn't draw this. I just took a template online and I printed that out. But I would totally encourage you to create your own. There are also templates that we sent you that have these blank sheets here, and you can draw whatever you like on them. Or what you can do is take a white piece of paper and then tape it on the inside of your black piece of paper. And then between the slits, every slit, you're going to draw your animation underneath that slit. Does that make sense? So you can see that under this slit, there's this animation, under this slit, there's this animation, and so on and so on. So that when we look through the slits, we will be able to see the image. So I'm going to draw one myself. I'll draw another example here, and I'll give you guys time to draw as well. Does anyone have any ideas of what you want to draw? You could type in the chat what you are going to draw in your animation. Or maybe you guys are busy. It's okay. I'll let you work and get to it. So again, find a white piece of paper. You're gonna cut out strips, or cut out one strip. A backflip stick man. That's super cool. That's awesome. I don't know if I can draw that. I'm not that talented in my drawing skills, but I'd love to see that. Or maybe double backflip. Wow, that's crazy. I don't know how many slits you have, but if you can fit your 2 backflips in 15 or 16 boxes, then go for it. So you can see that I have my strip here. Mine is from the template, so it has these kind of divides between them. So you can see there's 1 box, 2 box, 3 box, et cetera, and it goes across. So again, I have 13 slits, so I'll have 13 boxes to draw. Oh, nice. You dancing, Josh. I'd love to see that too. I bet that would look super cool. Ooh, I like that idea too. A leaf falling from a tree. That's super simple, and I think it would look really cool. Nice. Okay, start drawing, everyone, and then I want to see, hopefully we will be able to see some of your animations by the end of it. I'm going to draw a stick figure. I'm not sure what I'm going to draw my stick figure doing, but we'll see. Let's see. Here, I'll show you mine. I guess you can't really see what I'm drawing, but let's see. I think I'm going to draw my stick figure dancing too. Okay. So one thing to note when you're drawing is I've already drawn my first 2. And you can see that they look slightly different than the second. The first and the second look slightly different. You want to make sure that your animation is the same height. If it's staying in one place, let's say I see how mine is kind of just standing there and just moving its arms. Oops. It is the same height and it's on the same level ground. So that's something that's important, because if I draw my stick figure here and then I draw my stick figure up here instead, the next one, it's not going to be it's not going to flow consistently. It won't be smooth. I can draw it transitioning into me, like getting closer. Is that what you mean? No, like change. Draw it. Oh, like change arms? Into I see. I don't think I'm that great of an artist. I don't know if I can draw myself. I think I'm just gonna do it very simply. But thank you for the idea. I'm just going to make mine simple. I'm just gonna have my animation move its arms up and down. But I think that'd be super cool if I were able to do that. Okay, so hopefully I can do this pretty quickly. I can show you what mine looks like. Oh boy, mine is getting a lot smaller, so hopefully my animation will be smooth. I'm not sure how smooth it will be. Gotta draw these fast because the session is almost over. Oops. If you do have more time to draw and you're taking a lot more time to make them consistent and same level and everything, I would use a ruler and try to make it all the same length. But if you will take a look at mine after I finish mine, mine will not be consistent. This is an example of one that is not that great. And I'm sure you can make mine better for sure. But okay, here, I just finished mine. So let's start on the side. So you can see that the arms are interchanging, but they have the same stance. So hopefully it looks like my stick figure is dancing by the end of it.
That looks really cool.
Thanks. I think they're changing heights every single time, but I think it's not too bad for a very quick drawing. Okay, so I know we have 1 minute left, but hopefully I will be able to go through this quick. So once you have your animation like this, and you have your paper, I want you to tape your papers together so that the bottom one, so your white piece of paper is going to be filling in the space for that black section. So if I put the paper on top, it should look like this. So next step is to tape the ends together. And I'll show that on the screen as well. Like that. And then once you've done that, I want you to tape the ends of the cylinder together so that your animation is inside. So you can see my white paper is inside, but my black paper is still empty outside. So that when we look at it and we turn it like this, then and we look through the slits, we will be able to see the animation inside. So if you have a couple more minutes to stay, hopefully we will be able to finish this. But if you have to go, no worries. I hope you have a great day. But it would be great if you could stay.
When does this summer camp exactly end?
So the summer camp ends in next Thursday, I believe. So this is the first out of 4 episodes of this season. And the season's all about entertainment and animation and how engineering relates to that topic. And there are sessions today. So today's Tuesday. One is this coming Thursday. And then next week, there's another one on Tuesday and another one on Thursday. So 4 sessions. The last session will be next Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday. Yes, September 3rd. Thank you. But I hope to see you, all of you, in all of these sessions because they're really, really cool. We have some fun stuff coming up. Okay. So for those of you who have done that step, so have tapes your animation inside and then tapes your cylinder together, then what I want you to do is grab your paper plate. I already poked my hole in there, but what you want to do is grab a pen or a pencil, and you're going to poke a hole in there so that when you see your animation, you're going to spin it with the pencil or the pen, and then you could see it animate. Then what I want you to do is I want you to get some more tape, and then you're going to tape it on top. And that is the last step that I want you to do. Once you've done that, you should be all good. And then when you spin it, you should be able to see your animation, and it should look really, really cool. And that's it. So I know there wasn't too much time to finish it off. And again, if you need to go, no worries. We are glad to see you here. But if you have a couple more minutes to stay, we can answer some questions about the activity or about anything else that you have.
What is the next activity we're gonna do?
I am not too sure. That's a good question. I will have to check for you, and then I will get back to you. And oh, okay, kaleidoscopes. That's the next one. Cool. So again, tape your cylinder together, poke a hole in your pie tin or your paper plate, and then tape your cylinder to the plate. And then once you get that done, can you see both animations? Yeah, sure. Or I'm not sure how I'd be able to show you. Okay. Sorry, my tape fell off of mine, my prototype that I made earlier. Let me see if I can take it back. For sure, you can definitely see mine. Give me 1 second to fix mine, and then I will show you. And if you guys finished yours, we would love to see yours. I would definitely recommend you to test it out, see if it worked, and answer these questions on the screen. So one of the questions is, can you see an illusion of motion as you spin the Zootropes? So in other words, is your animation working? And then maybe if you try again, you make another version of your Zootrope. Maybe try with more slits, maybe less slits, maybe try with a different size of slits, see how that goes. And then big challenge that we have for you is to try to animate it or try to make it spin without using your hands. So how do you think, do you guys have any ideas in terms of how to do that? I'm not sure how I would do it.
You just need to have, like, you know those cake things where you spin it?
Yeah.
You have to put it on that. And
Sure,
then,
like a
yeah, and just somewhere you don't need to spin it with your hands each time. You just spin it once, and it will keep spinning until you want it to stop.
I like that suggestion. That's a great suggestion. So the question was, how do we make our Zootrope spin without using our hands? And Josh suggested if you get a cake stand and you spin it using that, we can make it animate. That's one great way to do it. I think someone else mentioned strings. So yeah, anyway, I have mine done. I fixed mine. So hopefully I will be able to show you over here. Can you guys see it? I'm not sure if you could see it through the slits. So if I spin it, you should be able to see it animate. Oh boy, oh boy. It's kind of hard to do it on camera. Okay, so hopefully you will be able to see mine animate. I know it's very hard to see, but you should be able to see the...
Can you bring it a little closer to the camera?
There, how's that better? You kind of...
Not quite, you can't really see it, but I'm sure it's working.
It's definitely working. Unfortunately, it's very hard to see on camera. I apologize, but again, I have another one. You can do something simple like mine with the dancing stick guy, or you could do the faces. There's many ways to do it and many animations that you can do. But yeah, it is 10:07. It is the end of the session. So I hope you enjoyed doing this activity with us, and I hope you learned a lot today. And I hope to see you guys next Thursday, hopefully. But have a great day if you have to leave, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone. And if you want to stay to show us some of your creations, some of your animations, we would.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.